Hi everyone and welcome back. My name is Siree, bringing you news from Oromia, Ethiopia, the Horn region and the world. Political prisoners in Kemise, Wallo have written a letter to OMN describing the human rights abuses and conditions of critical health that they are facing. The story is as follows. The letter says that in one prison alone in Kemise, 335 political prisoners are being held. Among them is well-known artist Saad Awal and two imams serving in the city, Sheikh Abdul Latif and Sheikh Sharafuddin, all three of whom are facing critical health conditions. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission has also reported that the human rights conditions that political prisoners are facing is severe. The letter states that we, Oromo Wallo political prisoners, who are imprisoned in the town of Kemise, 335 of us, including artist Saad Awal and imams Sheikh Abdul Latif and Sheikh Sharafuddin, have been imprisoned without due cause for over a year now. After being taken back and forth in the Amara region's courts, our case was taken over by the federal courts, and since then, we have been accused with having ties with the TPLF and the OLA, accused of establishing our own government, and accused of other acts of terrorism. All these accusations are not backed by evidence. Both imams, Sheikh Abdul Latif and Sheikh Sharafuddin, both widely known and respected as men of faith, elders of the community and local peacemakers, are both 80 years old. Sheikh Abdul Latif is well known for supporting sick and injured civilians to access hospitals during times of intense fighting in the region, as well as encouraging people to continue operating their businesses when people would close down due to fear of the ongoing conflicts in the area. According to the letter, he is also well known for advising local government officials in Kemise to avoid harming civilians or their daily business activities. It was during partaking in these efforts that he was first arrested and beaten. According to the letter, Sheikh Abdul Latif was also moved to Awash Araba for a month where he was tortured before being brought back to Kemise. The torture and human rights abuses that both elderly men have undergone at both Awash Araba and in Kemise are the cause for the deteriorating health conditions that they both face, the letter describes. The political prisoners have called on the Oromo people and additionally the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch and other human rights defenders to pay attention to the plight of the Oromo political prisoners in Kemise, Wallo. In the east of Wallagga, in the district Sibu Siree, Ethiopian federal forces have continued to target civilians. In a place called Charri, 21-year-old university student Ayantu was deliberately hit by a car driven by federal forces and killed, a source has told OMN. Ayantu was just days away from graduating from university, a close friend of hers told OMN. Now, following up on our story on the inside investigation revealing the alarming discriminatory practices within Ethio telecom, a state-owned telecommunications service, the findings that were aired have caused a degree of alarm within Ethio telecom. More on this story follows now. Since the investigation aired, an investigation that reveals shocking evidence revealing that the institution was dominated by members of the Amhara ethnic group, was intentionally excluding Oromo people, and was empowering employees to organize around discriminatory and hateful rhetoric directed at Oromo people, the leaders of Ethio telecom have started firing Oromo people, a source has told OMN. The revelations of the investigation have caused the institution's leaders serious issues, according to a source, and a number of meetings have been reportedly held to address the matter. Oromo staff of Ethio telecom have reported that these discriminatory practices have lasted for years and are happy that this investigation has finally brought what has been going on within Ethio telecom to the surface. Our source also shared that a lot of the efforts across management of the institution since the airing of this investigation has been to develop strategies to refute the claims and continue business as usual, an approach that has yielded little success.
A large fire broke out on the 7th of July at the Taiwan market in the town of Jijjiga, capital of Ethiopia's Somali region. Hundreds of shops were destroyed in the busy market location before local authorities could contain the fire. Local authorities received swift assistance from a rescue team from Hargeisa, Somali's capital. They arrived on the morning of Sunday the 9th to support local firefighters. The full extent of the damage is still being unearthed and the cause of the fire is still unknown. Now from news from elsewhere in the world. Citizens took to the streets in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, to protest the rising cost of living. This protest was a continuation of the protest that took place earlier this year, dubbed Maandamano, and mobilized by opposition leader Raila Odinga and his party Azimio. Up to 72 protesters were held for over 48 hours at Nairobi's Central Police Station, released just yesterday after courts decided not to press charges. According to the community group, Social Justice Centre's working group in its Nairobi chapter, lawyers and visitors were prohibited from seeing those imprisoned across the duration of their detainment. Former Chief Justice William Mutunga was at the scene over the weekend to join the call for the release of the protesters. Police reportedly tear-gassed those who gathered on Saturday calling for the release of protesters, including the former Chief Justice. Thank you again for joining us. That's all for today. My name is Sureti Kedir, bringing you news from Oromia, Ethiopia, the Horn region and the world here on the Oromia Media Network.
From February this year, we have been bringing you content in the English language that has been covering the political, social and economic realities of Ethiopia and the wider Horn region. We've had the pleasure of bringing you thought-provoking analysis and powerful stories to help us better understand the issues our region faces and what steps can be taken to solve these issues. As we continue to produce this content on our show OMN Insights, we're also excited to announce that we will be bringing you bi-weekly news bulletins in the English language. This means that we will now be airing a total of 3 English segments a week on the Oromia Media Network. I want to encourage you to tune in wherever it is you watch OMN content on Tuesdays and Thursdays for our news bulletins, and continue to watch and share our weekly program OMN Insight, hosted by me, Sureti Kedir. If you want to support our work through sponsorship, I also encourage you to get in touch with our team.